Hello everyone, my name is Abel, and today I want to tell you a story that completely transformed the way I speak English. In this journey, I will show you how I trained my ear, shaped my voice, and discovered powerful techniques to improve my accent in a way I never imagined. Today's story is all about how I learned to sound more natural, confident, and expressive when speaking English, and how you can learn from my experience. My mission is simple. By the end of this journey, you will know the same secrets that helped me improve my accent faster than I ever thought possible. Chapter 1. The moment I realized I needed change. I remember the exact night everything began. I was watching an interview with an American speaker whose voice sounded incredibly smooth, clear, and confident. Every word seemed to carry emotion, rhythm, and life. As I listened, something inside me shifted. Even though I understood English, I realized my accent didn't express the same energy or clarity. That moment felt like an awakening, like a voice inside me whispering that I could sound better, more natural, and more authentic. The next morning, I looked at myself in the mirror and repeated a simple sentence in English just to hear my voice. It wasn't bad, but it lacked the flow I admired. It sounded like I was holding back, as if English wasn't fully connecting with the way I wanted to express myself. Instead of feeling frustrated, I felt excited. For the first time, I knew exactly what I wanted to improve, and that alone gave me a sense of purpose. That same day, I began paying attention to English sounds in a completely new way. I noticed how native speakers move their mouths, how they connected words, and how their voices rose and fell naturally. It was like discovering hidden patterns that had always been there, but I never saw them. I began to understand that accent wasn't about sounding perfect. It was about understanding rhythm, melody, and small details that make English come alive. Later that week, I recorded myself speaking English for the first time. Listening to my own voice felt strange, but powerful. I could finally hear the difference between how I wanted to sound and how I actually sounded. Instead of being discouraged, I felt motivated. Hearing myself clearly gave me a starting point, and I knew that with practice, patience, and the right techniques, I could transform my accent completely. From that moment on, improving my accent became a personal mission. I didn't want to sound like someone else. I wanted to sound like the best version of myself in English. I promised that no matter how long it took, I would discover the methods, exercises, and habits needed to unlock my voice. And that promise became the beginning of one of the most exciting journeys of my life. Chapter 2. Training my ear to hear English differently. The next step in my journey was learning to truly listen. Not just hearing English, but understanding every detail behind each sound. I started by choosing my favorite English speakers and listening to them every single day. I wasn't focused on vocabulary or grammar. I was focused on rhythm, tone, and the way their voices flowed. Suddenly, English began to sound like music. I could feel when their voices rose, when they softened, and when they stretched certain sounds. It felt like I was discovering a new world hidden inside the language. Listening became a daily ritual. I used headphones so I could notice even the smallest details, like how they pronounced the R, how they softened the T, and how they connected words when speaking fast. I repeated everything I heard, trying to match their energy, their breath, and their rhythm. At first, it felt impossible, but little by little, my ear became sharper. I started noticing things I had never paid attention to before, and that alone began to change the way I spoke. One night, something incredible happened. I was repeating a short sentence from a video, and suddenly my voice sounded almost identical to the speaker. It shocked me. It was the first moment I realized that improving my accent was not just a dream. It was real, and it was happening. That small victory gave me the confidence to keep pushing even harder. To reinforce what I learned, I started shadowing, that technique where you speak at the same time as the native speaker. At first, I sounded messy, like I was chasing the audio. But with time, my voice started blending with theirs. I could feel my mouth adjusting, my tongue moving differently, and my overall sound becoming smoother. It was the most powerful training I had ever done. By the end of that week, I could notice the difference in my voice. My English no longer felt disconnected. It was starting to flow. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I had unlocked a secret ability that had been hiding inside me all along. Chapter 3: Learning the Music Behind English. Once my ear became sharper, I realized something important. English isn't just a language, it's a melody. It has beats, pauses, rises, and falls. If Spanish was a drum, English was a piano. Soft, smooth, and full of little details. Understanding this changed everything about the way I spoke. Instead of trying to pronounce words perfectly, I focused on sounding natural, flowing with the music instead of fighting it. I started practicing with simple sentences. I would say them slowly, then faster, then with different emotions. I wanted to understand how the meaning changed depending on my tone. And the more I practiced, the more I noticed that native speakers don't pronounce every letter. They pronounce emotions, intention, and energy. That realization became my new obsession. I also recorded myself every night. Listening to my voice helped me identify the sounds that felt too strong or too flat. English needed softness, flexibility, and movement. So I practiced relaxing my jaw, lowering my shoulders, and letting the words glide instead of pushing them too hard. It was almost like learning to sing, not just speak. Later, I began copying entire dialogues from movies. I didn't just memorize them, I acted them out. I imagined myself inside the scene, speaking naturally with the same emotion as the actors. That exercise helped me break my fear of sounding wrong. I let go of perfection and focused on expression. And with that mindset, my accent started changing faster than I expected. Every day, I felt the transformation growing. People around me began noticing. "You sound different," they said. "Your English is smoother." And hearing those words felt like proof that the melody of English was finally becoming part of my voice. Chapter 4: The Day I Faced My Biggest Challenge. Everything was going well until the day I faced my biggest test, speaking English in front of a group of people. I was nervous. My hands were cold, my voice felt tight, and every doubt in the world tried to rush into my mind. What if I sound strange? What if they don't understand me? What if my accent fails me now? But I reminded myself of everything I had learned. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. When I started speaking, my voice trembled. I could hear the insecurity in my first few words. But then I remembered the rhythm, the melody, the flow. I relaxed my jaw, let my voice glide, and allowed the English I had practiced to take control. To my surprise, the more I spoke, the stronger my voice became. My confidence grew sentence by sentence. At one moment, I paused and looked around. Everyone was listening. Not confused, not bored, listening. That gave me courage. I realized that nobody was judging my accent. All they cared about was the message I was sharing. And that realization gave me a wave of strength that changed everything. By the end of the presentation, I felt proud. I had done something I once believed was impossible. I didn't speak perfectly, but I spoke confidently, clearly and naturally. And that was more important than perfection. That moment proved that my accent journey was truly working. Walking out of that room, I felt lighter than ever. I had faced my fear and won. And I knew that from that day forward, nothing could stop my progress. Chapter 5: Discovering the Accent That Belonged to Me. After the big presentation, something in me shifted. I no longer wanted to imitate others. I wanted to find a version of English that fit me. Not too forced, not too flat, not too dramatic. Just me. So I started experimenting with my voice, trying different speeds, tones, and rhythms until I found the one that felt natural. I realized that having a good accent didn't mean sounding American or British. It meant sounding clear, confident, and comfortable. I stopped comparing myself to native speakers. Instead, I focused on making my English expressive and easy to understand. That mindset took away a lot of pressure and made speaking English feel more enjoyable. I also learned that accent improvement is not about sounding like someone else, but about polishing your own sound. So every day, I practiced with intention. I chose phrases I loved and repeated them with confidence. I read books out loud. I exaggerated sounds, then softened them. It felt like sculpting my voice into something new. One day, while speaking with a friend, I realized that my accent had changed without me even noticing. My speech flowed effortlessly. The words connected naturally. And the best part was that it sounded like me, just a better version of me. That was the moment I understood I had finally found my accent. From then on, I spoke English with pride. Not because I was perfect, but because I had discovered my voice. And that voice was strong, clear, and full of confidence. The voice I had been searching for since the beginning. Chapter 6: The Techniques That Transform My Voice. After discovering the accent that felt natural to me, I wanted to strengthen it even more. I began exploring advanced techniques used by actors, speakers, and voice coaches. One of the first things I learned was the importance of breath control. English needs smooth, steady airflow. So I practiced breathing from my diaphragm, letting the air support my voice instead of forcing the words out. The more I practiced, the more my voice sounded relaxed and confident, without that tight feeling I used to have. Another technique that changed everything was practicing with tongue twisters in English. At first, they felt impossible, but they helped me master difficult sounds and improve my agility. I noticed that my tongue became more flexible, my pronunciation clearer, and my transitions between words smoother. It felt like training for the gym, but for my mouth. Every session left me stronger and more prepared to speak naturally. I also learned the power of exaggeration. This technique felt strange at first, but it helped me open my mouth more and pronounce sounds fully. By exaggerating the rhythm and stress of English, I trained my muscles to adapt to the patterns of the language. And once my voice was comfortable with larger movements, the natural version of my accent became easier and smoother. One of the most unexpected techniques was practicing in front of a mirror. Seeing my facial expressions, jaw movement, and mouth shape helped me understand what I was doing right and what needed improvement. I could literally see confidence growing in my posture. Speaking became more expressive, more alive, more connected to my emotions. At the end of each day, I realized how far I'd come. My voice was no longer something I tried to hide or control. It became a tool I was learning to master. And with every improvement, I felt more prepared to take my English to an even higher level. Chapter 7: When Others Began to Notice the Change. The most surprising part of my journey came when people around me started noticing the changes in my accent. Friends who had heard me speak for years suddenly stopped mid-conversation and said, "Abel, your English sounds different." Their reactions were filled with curiosity and admiration. Hearing those words gave me a rush of satisfaction that nothing else could match. It was proof that my effort was visible, not just to me, but to the world. One day, I was speaking with a teacher who hadn't seen me in a while. She looked at me with wide eyes and told me that my pronunciation had become clearer and my voice much more natural. She even asked if I had taken professional lessons. I smiled because the truth was that everything I learned came from discipline, practice, and a burning desire to improve. That moment made me feel proud of how far I'd come on my own. The compliments encouraged me, but what truly moved me was seeing how people understood me effortlessly. Conversations flowed better. I no longer repeated myself or slowed down because of fear. Instead, I spoke with confidence and clarity. My English felt like a bridge connecting me to others, instead of a wall separating us. That change strengthened my relationships and opened new opportunities. One afternoon, I joined an online meeting with people from different countries. Normally, I would have been nervous, but this time I felt calm. I expressed my ideas clearly, received positive feedback, and even got invited to another meeting. It was a moment that showed me how much my accent had become a tool, not just for communication, but for confidence and connection. By the end of that week, I realized something powerful. Improving my accent wasn't just changing the way I spoke, it was changing the way the world saw me. And that transformation became one of the greatest rewards of my entire journey.